So I didn't make any videos last week, so this should be quick, right? Let's get it over with. Cheers. Welcome back, everybody, to me doing the weekly navel-gazing, where we talk about all the things I didn't do last week and why. And then I just ramble on about how bad my life is. So yeah, please welcome to that. And I'll start this with an announcement. This Saturday, 3rd of December, at, 9 p.m. my time, and that would be, I guess, 3 p.m. Eastern time, and I don't know, time zones, they're complicated. I don't even have a calendar. Anyway, point is, we'll do a live stream. I said so, and I've asked some friends to join, and we'll see how many actually will show up. I have this idea for like a thumbnail where we just like add in one picture after the other once people have finally confirmed and stuff. But that's the idea. And we'll just hang out and talk about Malazan and talk about fantasy, talk about sword and sorcery, talk about Fafford and the Grey Mouser, I'm pretty sure that one will come up. Talk about all kinds of stuff, possibly even music, possibly just, what it means to do booktube things, just a random chat about all kinds of things to celebrate the fact that I've been doing this for 2 years, and sort of that kind of thing. It's not the 1,000 subscriber celebration because I'm not there yet. This channel has 960 subscribers right now, and I doubt we'll hit the 1,000 by the weekend, because I haven't done much. So beyond that, I would really love to have all of you there. I'll put like a, if you have like wishes for that like chat kind of live stream thing, put them in the comments. Let me know all the questions you have and all that stuff. I might do like a real full-on like Q&A kind of thing once I hit the 1,000. But if you have like wishes and dreams for like this weekend's conversation kind of thing, let me know down below in the comments. And now let's talk about all the things I didn't do last week. All right. I did read some books. Mostly I did read Dialectics of Enlightenment by Adorno and Horkheimer, which is something every self-respecting cultural Marxist has to read once in their life. I'm more than just self-respecting. I'm reading it for the second time because I was looking at certain aspects, and that's something I've been reading a bit of, and we'll come back to that later. And I finished Ilium by Dan Simmons. That's right, I'm done with that fucker, and trust me, it's a bad one. Well, we'll learn about that in the future. So I did that, and I did, of course, start Olympus by Dan Simmons, which is the next part of the Ilium Olympus duology, which means the 6th out of 7 Dan Simmons books that we'll have to go through in the downfall of Dan Simmons. So there we are. That's what I read last week. Did I read more? Not really. I mean, I started The Truth by Terry Pratchett. It's my bedtime read, so I'm repeating chapters. Well, there are no chapters in Pratchett books, so I'm repeating parts all the time because I fall asleep. And that's something that happened there as well. And I've listened to the first story in a collection of sword and sorcery, contemporary sword and sorcery stories called The Book of Blades by the Rogues in the House podcast. They're like editing, they did edit that whole thing, and Liam from Liam's Lyceum, friend of the channel, and I'm a huge fan of his channel, actually sent me a copy of that audiobook as a gift, and I'm very excited to go through all of those. They're cool. They tickle my Conan and other old-school sword and sorcery brain just as much as my D&D player's brain, so I'm very happy to read those. I'll go through those, and we'll see what I can do afterwards if I'll, have Liam over to talk sword and sorcery, or have, a review. We'll see how that goes. It's an idea that I'm thinking about, but that's sort of my reading right now. So let's look at the reading plans for like the future. Say on Sunday, there will be the second part of the Prince of Nothing discussions with Jimmy and Joanna and Philip Chase. It's going to be recorded and then put up on Joanna's channel at some point in the future, but I don't know when. So I'll have to read The Warrior Prophet sometime this week. So I'll probably, take a break from reading Olympus, I guess, to get through Warrior Prophet in time. We'll see. But that's sort of the thing I really have to read this week. And the week after, there will be, if nothing changes, another live stream discussion of the second part of the Age of Madness trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. That would be The Trouble with Peace. And don't I know about that? It will be on Jolene Reed's channel on the 11th of December. And the time will, I guess, be 8 p.m. my time, but we'll find out about all of that stuff in the future. So once I'm done with Warrior Prophet, I will have to read The Trouble with Peace. I mean, it's high time I do so, because I bought that audiobook when it came out. I pre-ordered it, and then I didn't read it until now. So I'm excited to get through that. We'll see how the whole industrialism thing goes down. I'm excited. Beyond that, there's so many books I kind of want to read. See, Maror by Lavi Tidar, which I'm still super excited about, got pushed back to the 29th of December, so that one's off my non-existent TBR. On the 6th of December, however, Stella Maris Part 2, or the companion book to The Passenger by Cormac McCarthy, will come out, and that gives me the chance to read both of those back to back, which is exactly what I plan to do. I'm very excited about that. McCarthy has not disappointed me yet. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And beyond that, I have all kinds of other books that I really want to read, or kind of feel I want to read. I just, on a whim, because it felt like a good idea, I spent an Audible credit on the Book of Night Women by Marlon James. After my excitement for A Brief History of Seven Killings, I figured, I could read more Marlon James before I go and read the Dark Star trilogy once that third book will actually come out. And so, yeah, this sounded like a good idea, or it just felt right, which is what I did. So I dropped in an Audible credit, and whenever I have some time to actually go through that, I will listen to the Book of Night Women. It's narrated by Robin Miles, who does all the good N.K. Jemisin stuff, the Broken Earth and The Great Cities and stuff like that. So I'm excited for that, even just for the audio, so we'll see how that goes. I also have A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess, which I've read before, and I just recently realized I actually spent an Audible credit at some point on it. I read it in school, on my wishes. I read when I was 15 for the first time, so I'm might be do a reread. I'm really excited to rereading A Clockwork Orange. I'm not sure if any of those books will make it into videos, because they're all over the place, and I'm still, continuously figuring out what I'm actually doing here on this channel, so I don't know what happens there, but I'm excited to read A Clockwork Orange again, because it's a good book. I can tell you that much. It's also a very dark book in a lot of ways. So, now, if you can stand the darkness, go read it and go watch the movie, because the movie is fantastic. Anyway, so that's sort of my non-existing reading plans. I'll also have to do a reread of Ubik by Philip K. Dick in the near future. I'm looking forward to that, because Ubik's a pretty cool book, once again. There's so many really cool books out there. So I don't think I'll get bored with the readings. And there's, of course, all the academic stuff that I'm still reading, the Dialectics of Enlightenment, and I have at least two more books on my whole anti-Semitism list that I want to go through. There's one which is Anti-Semitism as the negative. It's a German book. Antisemitismus als die Leitidee, als die negative Leitidee der Moderne, which is something that I'm really looking forward to reading. And there's another one which is a collection of essays on the protocols of the Elders of Zion and their heritage through the last century. And that one's, well, it's going to be dark, but I feel it's necessary reading. So I'm going to do that as well, because, I'm overdoing things. So that's all my reading plans for the moment. There might be other things that pop up randomly when I'm like, oh, this sounds interesting, and then I'll just, dive into it, and we will see. There's certainly more stuff out there, is the problem. Videos. Well, I didn't do any videos last week. I was away visiting friends from Thursday onwards, and came back on Sunday very late. And yeah, didn't have a chance to actually record a video. So that's that. I'm sorry for that. I also was very tired and had, things are still kind of tough around here for me mentally and whatnot. I actually had an appointment with a doctor yesterday, and I'm getting medication for my mental health issues, for my depression. Now we'll see how that kicks in. I just picked them up today, so hopefully they'll do something. We will see. And I'm still trying to actually get my life back into order, which is pretty fucking hard. I can tell you that. I'm super exhausted all day long. It's like just going down, talking to two people, and coming back up on my mountain leaves me exhausted for the rest of the day, which is not how things should be. So yeah, but I'm working on planning on doing more videos, and as I said, I finished Ilium, so y'all know what that means. We'll have another ranty video about Dan Simmons being an Islamophobe, a sexist, a right-wing conservative nutjob, and all these other things. And people not noticing because, oh look, he's quoting Homer there. He must be a smart guy. Sorry, yeah, that's basically what happens, and I think I got like an idea how to actually frame that next one. Getting close to it, so maybe I'll manage to record it tomorrow, and you'll get it all, get that one tomorrow. That would be cool, wouldn't it? And beyond that, yeah, I still have those 3 tags that I should do, and I kind of, I really should just sit down and do the tags, and I just keep forgetting about those until I'm like, oh shit, I could have done a tag video. So we will see. There's those, and then there's obviously the larger anti-Semitism in fantasy project that I think I need to split into different projects. We'll see how that goes. Because see, I'm still kind of figuring out, or kind of worried about who I am on YouTube, whether I'm part of what you might call BookTube, whether I'm not part of BookTube. There's all these like weird situations, right? It's like someone else made a comment last time, and I was like, I'm almost a social butterfly with all these tags and stuff. And yeah, but I'm not really, right? It's like I'm not really part of those, the larger BookTube conversation. I don't take part in a lot of like group conversations. I'm not doing the same kind of things. I recently watched a video, and please don't take this as me shitting on the video, but I recently saw a video by by Murphy Napier, yeah, on like the origins of the fantasy genre, and it's an okay video. Don't get me wrong, but it's like it leaves out so much, and people love that kind of stuff. And you have people, when I look at like other videos, and it's like I'm probably going at this from like the wrong perspective, which is kind of what bugs me with the anti-Semitism video, right? It's like people, I'm not sure if anyone's interested in that approach. And I could probably just, tell you all about like the 5 best science fiction stories ever written, and then just tell you about my 5 favorite stories, which I don't think are the 5 best science fiction stories ever, but it's all about, declaring the truth, and I'm not good at declaring stuff. I don't think I'm good at, coming across as an authority in that regard, and I think that's part of the problem. It's like I want to teach stuff, I guess, in a way, or explain stuff, or raise awareness of certain issues with our genre, because I love fantasy, right? I love fantasy and I love science fiction. They're very much my favorite genres when it comes to books. It's what I gravitate to, and I think both have a huge potential to be fantastic genres that could do so much to make this world a better place, to make our lives better, all these things. And especially with fantasy, I often see, people not doing that. People deliberately staying in the past, deliberately keeping it as dumb as possible, and that just pisses me off no end. But I'm also aware of the fact that saying that can come across as absolutely arrogant in a lot of ways, and I'm on this point where I'm like, anytime I read a fantasy book and I have like criticism, people are like, so why are you reading it? And I'm like, I want this to be good. I want this to be great, but I can't just ignore all the terrible shit that's in there. And so much of fantasy appreciation feels to me at this point, at least in the more traditional side of fantasy appreciation, not so much the YA. I don't know. There's certain parts of BookTube that are very much more, I guess, more progressive in a lot of ways. But the feel of fantasy BookTube is very much about like not criticizing political issues in fantasy, not mentioning those kind of things, not pointing them out and just saying like, I want my escapism. And there's an issue with that escapism thing that I'm still struggling with, and I feel almost like every time I go out and say, hey, this book sucks for these and these reasons, I almost feel like people will hate me, or kind of, there's a wonderful word in German that is called Nestbeschmutzer, which means the one who actually craps in your own nest. It's like, you're part of our community, and you're yeah, it's not a good term, right? It's not a good word to call someone, and I almost feel like that, and I'm like, hey, look, this is bad, and this here is also bad, and so much of those things are unnecessary. They're so unnecessary in those books, and I'm like, we should talk about this, and now we should make an effort to be better, to be smarter about these things, to like, I love fantasy and I love science fiction, and I want it to be great, but that means criticizing stuff, and I sometimes feel like I'm overdoing that. So yeah, I'm all over the place there mentally, and the anti-Semitism video is very much going to be in that regard, because I'm like, I've read a lot of books about this right now. I would not call myself an expert on the study of anti-Semitism, not by a long shot. Just because I've read, like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 academic books doesn't mean I'm an expert. But I've looked, and there's not many people talking about it out here. So I'm like, maybe I have to do it. But how can I do this in a way that doesn't come across as like arrogant or anything like that? That's sort of what I'm trying to figure out, and where I'm like, maybe I should split off the more theoretical parts and just make a video about like showing all those very specific academic tropes, anti-Semitic tropes, and stereotypes and narratives, and how they actually are around for all kinds of reasons, and leave all the other academic, more deeper dive into the whole subject. Leave those for a different video, because otherwise I will possibly just actually take away from its impact, because people get bored and don't want to hear about all the ideas of structural anti-Semitism, although I have to mention that one, or all the historical background and shit like that. I was like, maybe though I really would love to talk about all of that, maybe this is not the place, because it's still BookTube. And a lot of people want the 5 most overrated science fiction series of all time or whatever instead. And don't want to have that level of detail, because this is, something you switch on to switch off your brain. And I don't know. I'd rather prefer people switching on their brains than switching off their brains, but I do get the idea, right? I just said I'm exhausted when I come home. It's like, I just don't want to think about stuff for a while. Maybe that's what I'll provide to people. I don't know. See, I'm all over the place is what I'm saying, but I'll definitely make a video about anti-Semitism and fantasy, maybe even 2, because there is enough material for like a lot of discussions out here, and that's sort of where I want to be in a way, I guess. Oftentimes it's like being the guy who tells you all the stuff about fantasy and science fiction that other people for some reason leave out. But that puts me on the outside in a lot of ways, emotionally, I guess. And that's what I'm struggling with, because of course everyone wants to be, loved, I guess, at the end of the day. So yeah, you see, I'm all over the place, but I have hopes for the future. And once again, if you've stuck with me this far, thank you so very, very much. If you have time, why not, drop by the live stream on Saturday. Drop by the live stream on Saturday. If you have questions, wishes, ideas and stuff that we should talk about, touch upon on that live stream on Saturday, celebrating bemoaning 2 years of this BookTube channel, then let me know in the comments. I'd love to have you all there, and we'll see how this all works out. And if if it doesn't go too terribly badly, maybe I'll do more live streams in the future. We will see. Anyway, I hope you had a great week. I hope you're having a great week. I hope you're reading fantastic books. And yeah, I guess I'll talk to you real soon about all kinds of stuff. And until then, cheers.